Hello, we're going to take a look at one more proof using those angle relationships that we've been learning about recently. So just like before, we are given some information in this diagram and also with these congruences, and we are going to use the reasons and statements down in the bank to fill out the rest of the proof. Reason number one says given, so what is the information that we were given? That is this information right here. Angle AEB is congruent to angle DEC, which is this congruence right here I just checked off. Now, how do we proceed from here? After that, they say measure of angle ABB equals measure of angle DEC. If two angles are congruent, then their measures are the same. That's just using our definition of congruent angles. And I'm going to do a little abbreviating here. Now, the next one you got to think about a little carefully is they say we're saying some sort of statement using our angle addition postulate. Your angle addition postulate, just to refresh your memory, looks something like this. Angle 1 plus angle 2 is going to be equal to the whole bigger angle measure altogether. So where do we see that in our diagram? Well, one way we see it is with this statement right here that I just checked off in blue. Measure angle DEB, I'm going to kind of outline it right here, is equal to measure angle BEC, whatever that is, plus measure of angle DEC, whichever this is. I'm going to erase that just so it doesn't clutter up our picture too much. So by the angle addition postulate, we can say that measure of angle DEB equals measure of angle BEC plus measure of angle DEC. Now, this next step, they said that they used their substitution property of equality. So we've substituted one equal thing for another equal thing. The only things that we know are equal right now are that AEB and DEC are congruent. So notice that this equation right here that I'm checking off with a red check mark looks very similar to the one we just wrote in blue, except for where we have a DEC, we now have an AEB. So I'm going to write that equation out. So we've substituted, instead of, sorry, this should be a BEC. Notice that BEC is in both, but instead of DEC, we've used AEB. That was from our substitution property of equality. Now, how do we get from statement 4 to statement 5? So what happened here? We have measure of angle AEC, which is this angle right here, equals measure of angle BEC, which is this one, plus measure of angle AEB. That is once again just our angle addition postulate. So that's actually going back to the picture for that one, not using the equations we just did. Abbreviate a little bit there too. Okay. So now, using our transitive property of equality, we use the transitive property of equality when we have two equal things going on. And so measure of angle DEB is BEC plus DEC. Measure of angle AEC is BEC plus AEB. And so actually I'm talking about statements 4 and 5 here. Notice that what's on the left-hand side, the right-hand side is the same, just the order is swapped. So since this part and this part are equal to each other, we can say that measure of angle DEB is equal to measure of angle AEC. So I can set these two things equal to each other. That was with our transitive property of equality. I'm going to fix that equal sign because it looks really scary. All right, last but not least, we get to our thing that we wanted to prove in the first place. Angle AEC is congruent to angle DEB. How can we say that? Well, notice that these two, what we see in 6 and what we see in 7, are almost exactly the same. This says the angle measures are equal. This says they're congruent. That is once again using our definition of congruent angles. That is it for today. Hopefully now you're feeling more comfortable with these proofs. Have a fantastic day.